Hello once again to another video with Back Corner Comics, and today we're going to be looking at the Inspector Coke trilogy by a kind of up-and-coming publisher that I've been a fan of since I picked up another box set they released, and we'll talk about that one day when I finish reading it. But I got this one. This is the second release I've got from them, and the publisher is called Epicenter Comics, and wow, like they're really focusing on European cartoonists that we've never seen before here in the States. And I tip my hat off to them because I know it's not, easy wading into the market of, comics, especially, comics like the Inspector Coke trilogy where, there might not be a big audience for them or for the title, but, there's people who are going to appreciate it. And yeah, so let's kind of get into it. Here's this wonderful slipcase. You can order it from Epicenter Comics on eBay. I don't know if they have a website, but I do know that they have a eBay store. That's kind of where I purchased their stuff from. And here you kind of have, The Crimes of the Phoenix, The Mummy, and The Monster of the Thames. This is the 3 stories that are collected in here. And as you can tell, these are numbered slipcases, so kind of I don't want to create FOMO, but if you are interested in this series after you watch this video, run and get these. I mean, you're not going to regret getting the slipcase. It's high quality. It's cheap for what you're getting. I think I paid $60 with shipping. So really go out and pick this up. It's totally worth your time and your money. So yeah, let's crack into it. So yeah, Inspector Coke is kind of like Sherlock Holmes meets Hammer films, really. I think that's the best way to kind of describe it. You have 3 very different stories, and yeah, let's just look into it. Beautiful stuff here. So this is by Dino Battaglia, and he inspired a ton of cartoonists, one of which is Topi. A lot of people are familiar with Topi. He's one of those European cartoonists that have been praised for a long time. The stories within Inspector Coke were published in the 80s. I'm going to be honest with you, I did not read the essays, so I don't really know too much of the backstory here. But as you can tell, the art is fantastic. His use of black and white and whatever's going on with the texture is phenomenal too. He's kind of photorealistic and also cartoony at the same time, and very graphic with the sound effects here, which is great. Tlack tlack is kind of the sound effect that this great, mechanical beast, I don't want to say too much, but he kind of is a detective who doesn't want to be a detective. He's kind of lazy. Sometimes he can be apathetic to the investigations, which is very fun, very Sherlock Holmesy. Now, there was only ever 3 stories published, and I think it felt like there was going to be a continuation of story here. It's a shame that he passed away in the process of making the 3rd volume, and the 3rd volume was actually finished up by another cartoonist. And I'll show you the difference in art style. It's not a big jump, but it is noticeable. But good stuff. Here's the Phoenix, I don't want to say too much. I think I already did, but it's all right. Oh, also, I want to give a quick shout out to Vivian Machado. She's the model for Epicenter Comics, I think. It's really great stuff to get these titles and to see her there proudly presenting the books. You might see a video on this sooner than later. Very interested in that one. And also the Ken Parker series. Shouts out to Vivian. Thank you. This story here, the second story, which is titled The Mummy. I don't want to spoil things, but there is a mummy. And there's kind of like this supernatural element here that doesn't really get followed up on in Volume 3, which is kind of unfortunate. But it kind of shows where Dino was trying to go with the series and probably where you know, Inspector Coke would have ended up probably dealing with a lot of different supernatural elements. But I really like this volume because it ends on a conclusion that isn't really a conclusion, but it is conclusive, you know? And I feel like he was playing a lot with story here and genre. And this is really pulp comics, you know? You're going to see me talk a lot about pulp comics because I love them. You know, I'm a big fan of genre stuff. You can blame that on my mother for showing me the Twilight Zone at a young age. I love this panel here. So I bought the Avlar Mayar slipcase, and that slipcase came with a bookmark, and this was the bookmark. And that's what sold me on this, believe it or not. So the advertisement worked. And this takes place during Victorian London. He has a cat named Belphegor, which is such a weird name. This cat is like a second character or a side character because he tells everything to the cat. So that's kind of how you get some really good exposition. Very good stuff. I love this. This second story is probably my favorite one, even though the third one is very good as well. The Monster of the Things. And as you can tell here, very spooky. This one is a little bit more, this one felt the most Sherlock Holmes out of the three of them. You know, there's something going on with these boats being blown up on the Thame. And, you know, the Inspector Coke doesn't really know what's going on. But when he finds out, there's this really great action sequence in the third act that's just so riveting. And the guy who picked up drawing, here you go. Here's the shift in art style. You know, here's Dino, I imagine. If I'm wrong, please let me know. And then it just completely shifts. And you can kind of tell, too, here. There's a little bit more details on the faces and stuff. But he does a really good job at matching Dino. Here's that kind of more detail. But the third act is so fun, so exhilarating. You know, a good investigative story is going to set up elements early on that then get resolved or get elaborated on in the third act. And this is exactly what happens here. I believe that Dino left a lot of story notes for this. And that's how it was able to be executed so well by this other cartoonist. Yeah, I don't want to show too much. So there's that. Here's book 3. And kind of something to keep in mind, you know, when you order these, is you're not just getting the slipcases and you're not just getting the books, okay? You're also getting a lot of bonus material, like here. A bookmark, here's that bookmark I was mentioning earlier. And again, this sold me on this series. You're getting like these little postcards, not postcards, but little art prints from different panels. And then you're also getting blown up art prints. So, you know, I feel like we live in a day and age where a lot of these companies are trying to take advantage of us nerds, and they're trying to, because they know we're going to buy it regardless. And then you have a publisher like Epicenter Comics who's going all the way, and they're throwing everything into the package, which feels so good. It feels like my $60 really went somewhere, and I can't say that about a lot of publishers. That's why you see me talking about Fantagraphics, because I feel the same way about Fantagraphics. They really present books the best way that they can be presented. Epicenter Comics is no difference with essays and bonus materials and the like, you know? So check Epicenter Comics out. Check out Inspector Coke. I'm Gerald Varela. This is Back Corner Comics. Thank you for watching.